Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Beautiful Ashes. I'm your host, Tom, and for today's episode, I want to talk about how you go from frustrations to solution. Now, as I'm speaking here, I can hear my laptop is in the background right there, and like I said, I'm going to be totally transparent in this journey, and so I'm using an old laptop. It's pretty old, about maybe 10 years old. Yeah, I think about 10 years old. Yeah, it's about 10 years old. And the thing about it is, it is roaring. You'd think there's an airplane engine inside of it, even as it operates. And I pretty much can't get anything done with it. And so there's always like a lag between the time that you click and the time that you actually get something done. And even as you open up the browser and whatnot. And so I'm using pretty much an old machine just to give you guys an example of like kind of my situation. So that way you have zero excuses as to why you're not starting. Okay, so I'm using myself and I'm actually just kind of showing you guys like the truth, like the behind the scenes. Now, anyway, and so the other day I was dealing with this issue whereby I was getting frustrated because obviously of the incompetence of my laptop and how it's kind of preventing me and being guided by God and whatnot. It's a bit difficult because when God tells you to do something, you usually have to do it first, and then not sometimes he'll give you the resources outrightly. Sometimes you just have to make do with what you have until you actually kind of get past that level. And so I'm in that kind of situation whereby I have to make do with what I have and make some progress with it. Okay, so it's kind of the situation of whereby the story of Moses, whereby he had his rod and God told him, "What do you have in your hands?" So this is what I have in my hands. So this is what I'm using. Anyway, it's not a sermon. It's just kind of like just sharing it. Anyway, and so I got to a point whereby I was so frustrated because of the of equipment malfunction, whereby I can't get anything done with it. I can't get it done with the speed that I want it to be done. And it's getting to a point whereby it's getting really frustrated. Imagine it's like one of those old cars, like our parents or our grandparents used to have, whereby you would need to actually or push the car for it to get started. If you're from Africa, you've probably seen one of those vehicles. If you're not, then you probably have an experience whereby you have an old vehicle, or you've seen somebody that was gone through this, whereby they have an old vehicle that needs to kind of get motivated to actually get started. And so you don't just put the key in the ignition and then you just press or push to start, and then the car starts up. But there's kind of like a startup period or a boot up period or a lag time between the time you actually do the thing and by the time you get the result from doing the thing. And so for my laptop has a huge lag time, and so it takes a bit of a moment to actually do it. Now, can I get a better laptop? Of course, I can get a better laptop. At least I have somewhere I can borrow, but that's not the point here. The point here is to make do with what you have, and you can borrow when you have or when you can. Okay, so that's kind of the whole idea. You can borrow when you can. And so for now this one works because what I need to do, I'm doing my recordings on my phones, and so the laptop is pretty much, it's just basically just for just kind of browsing, some light browsing, maybe going on YouTube, learning a few things here and there, and pretty much that's it. Anyway, so it does the thing that it needs to do, and whenever I need to upload and edit my audio files, I borrow a laptop and I use that one, the borrowed one. Now, so this thing about frustrations, and whereby it gets you so frustrated that you feel like it kind of demoralizes you and kind of bogs down on you heavily, whereby you think like, oh, I need this piece of equipment, I need this piece of equipment to get started. I need a better phone. Like some of the things that I was kind of going through my head was, man, I need a better phone that can have, can record better audios. I need a better laptop so that I can be able to use it to do my thing. And this one doesn't even have a function of battery, whereby it's kind of a desktop, whereby it needs to be directly connected to the electricity outlet. That way, it can actually work. Otherwise, doesn't have a battery that would last past 2 minutes. So pretty much a desktop that is in the form of a laptop. So anyway, um, and so I was getting frustrated to the point whereby, I just felt like smashing it to the ground. And if you haven't gotten there, then I promise you, you're privileged and, you're way ahead. Okay, so I was getting to the point, and most days I actually feel like just taking it and actually smashing it to the ground, and jumping on it and going all gorilla like on it, like going bananas on my laptop. But that's not the point. The point here is, um, I was getting frustrated. And I guess this is something that most people don't talk about when it comes to entrepreneurship or when you're usually starting something new, whereby you're told to start with what you have, but other times what you have may not be the best. And so in such a situation, you get frustrated because perhaps you have this mentality or this mindset whereby you need the right things or the best things or capable things, or at least better than the ones that you have, or things that are better than what you have to actually get started. And I'm here to tell you that is not true at all. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I am in actually that situation whereby I'm using an old laptop, and I'll make sure I'll actually keep it. I'll do my best to actually keep it as proof of where I come from, of where I'm coming from, or even the phone that I'm using to record this. I'll do my best to actually keep it, and just go from there. That way I can actually show you guys where I started from, maybe 5 years from now. Anyway, and so you get to that point whereby you're trying to get things done, but the thing that is actually stopping you, or the resistance you're facing, is actually in terms of the hardware that you have. And so I don't know where you are. Maybe you're trying to start a car business, and the car that you have is actually giving you problems. I don't know, maybe you're trying to start something else, but the tools or the equipment that you have to actually get it done is giving you problems. And I'm here to tell you that a lot of the times, this frustration, this resistance, it is pretty much an indication of whereby you are trying to kind of break through something. It can be a mental barrier, it can be a spiritual barrier, it can be a physical barrier. But whatever it is, it is kind of helping you build muscles. So it's like going to the gym and actually facing some resistance when you're lifting weights to actually help you be able to lift even stronger weights. And so you don't go to the gym and then start lifting 100, start bench pressing like 100 kilo from day one. You actually start you start with very little weight. So you can actually start with 10 kgs, which I highly recommend. No matter how strong you are, just try 10 at least. That way you don't get sore muscles. Anyway, that's a gym tip for those of you guys who are actually who are into fitness. And so what happens is, these frustrations they usually arise because of the resistance that you're facing, whereby you're trying to come out of something, but it's like something keeps on pressing you down, and you're trying to come up. And so the resistance you're facing here is manifests itself in the form of frustration that you get with the kind of equipment that you have and everything that you have around you to actually get started with the thing that you actually want to do, or the dream that you actually want to achieve. And so one of the things that I found out is you need to actually sit with it, and don't allow it to overcome you, but just sit with it. Think of it as as a tug of war, whereby something is pushing and you're pushing also. And so the one who wins is the one who gives up. The one who wins or the one who loses is the one who gives up. And so you have to win here, because after all, you're doing it for you. And so as you're dealing with this resistance, these frustrations to get to the next level, it's pretty much an indication whereby you are at a bottleneck, or you've reached a ceiling of the level that you're in, whether it is in that area in terms of starting an enterprise or doing entrepreneurship, whether it is in business, whether it is in fitness, whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether you're starting a new business, whether you're starting a new venture, whatever it is, whether it's even a new relationship, what it's usually telling you is that it's an indication whereby that the level that you are at, you've come to the ceiling of it. And so now you need to break through. But the problem is, when you're trying to break through, there's going to be so much resistance preventing you or trying to make you stay at the same level. And so what happens here is you need to fight through it. You need to endure through it. That way you can be able to break ground and actually break through that bottleneck that is actually stopping you from advancing to the next level. And so in my situation, I found out that the frustrations that are trying to, that are kind of the resistance that I was facing, that just bring up frustrations or anxiety, and I don't know what you can call that, but I'm not really sure about the definition, but that thing that was feeling like, you just feel like you want to burn. And so at that point, when you get to that point whereby you feel like you want to smash your laptop to the ground or your phone because it's not doing what you want it to do the way you want it to do, when you're actually facing some resistance, well, it's usually an indication whereby you're actually about to change levels, especially in that area facing resistance towards, and you need to kind of break some of these mental barriers, or these mental, it can be mental, can be physical, these mental challenges that you actually kind of need to break through. That way you can be able to access the next level. And so that's pretty much what frustrations are. They're pretty much indications of resistance that you're facing, and the resistance here is because you're trying to change weight levels. Okay, so you're trying to go to an upper weight class, and so or trying to get to an upper level in whatever area it is that you're actually facing resistance from. Okay, and so one of the ways that I found out is, once you're able to actually endure long enough, what happens is a solution will usually come up. And so when the solution usually comes up is usually when you actually broken ground. And one of the things that happens here is I overcame the mental barriers whereby that I thought that I needed this and this. I need to have a better laptop. I need to have a better computer. I need to have a better phone. And I was able to actually get the thing that I wanted to do done with what I had. And so it wasn't pretty much a physical equipment barrier, so to speak, or it was pretty much a mental block, so to speak. And so I need to kind of get past that kind of mental barrier. That way I can actually be able to see that I actually don't need the thing that I thought that I needed to actually go to the next level. And so that's pretty much what frustration. So, and so if you're able to stick with it long enough, your frustrations will often birth the solution. So you're kind of like, like it's like a woman who's giving birth. You're kind of like in the travailing room, or actually kind of like, you're in that moment whereby you're pushing and it's painful, and you're facing a lot of resistance. But if you can endure the process long enough, you'd actually receive your bouncing baby boy or girl. And so that's pretty much what frustration. So they often lead to solutions, but only if you endure long enough for the solution to actually present itself. And so by the grace of God, I was able to come up with a solution. I was able to actually actually kind of come up with a solution. I'm now making progress as well. Okay, so yeah, that's it for this episode. So remember, frustrations always come before solutions. So you have to endure long enough for the frustrations to kind of, the kind of like the contractions that come with childbirth. And so they're kind of like contractions that come every now and then, but you actually have to endure them long enough for you to actually receive the child that you have. And so if you can do that, you actually receive the solution to your problem. So that's it for this episode. Thank you for listening, and be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, hit the like, share, and subscribe button, and see you on the next episode. Bye.